Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again on Safe Money Radio. And you might be listening right now, but you also might be watching us on YouTube. You might be listening to our podcast. A lot of our shows that you hear on the radio, you can also watch online. You can go anytime to Apple Podcast, to YouTube, or to Spotify, and you can just type in Brad Pistole and Safe Money Radio. So depending on whether or not you like to listen or if you like to watch, if you want to be able to rewind and go back to certain key things that we are talking about on the show, then just find out what works for you best and then go do that. You can always find us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's Safe Money Radio with Brad Pistole. And as you know, we are the longest running financial planning show in the Ozarks. We've been on a lot longer than anyone else, almost 15 years now. And we've had key guests on our show in recent years, even in recent months. People like America's IRA expert, Ed Slott. People like world-renowned economist Tom Hegna, world-renowned Social Security expert Heather Schreiber. We've had Dr. Wade Pfau, Dr. Michael Finca, Dr. Alex Margia. So if you want the source for key retirement planning information by the world's experts, you found the right place. And today we're going to be talking about something that you do not want to miss. So stay with us. And remember, you can always call anytime, 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. If you want a copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, or if you want a copy of Ed Slott's book, The New Retirement Savings Time Bomb, we have autographed copies, so just call in anytime. But with that being said, let's jump into today's show because we're going to be talking about the joint owner on your retirement accounts. And that was not a mistake. You heard me correctly. The joint owner. Here's the thing. America's IRA expert came to Springfield, Missouri for the first time ever. He speaks all over the world. He speaks at Fortune 500 companies, and he was right here in Springfield. We brought in Ed Slott to speak on September the 12th, 2023. We had a sold-out crowd at the White River Convention Center. More than 100 people attended. We had 50 people on a waiting list, and we provided this event absolutely free of charge to everyone in the Springfield community. And here's the thing that Ed said that shocked a lot of people. You know, they came up to him after the event was over, and he was signing books and autographs and talking to people about their retirement accounts. And everyone kept saying, you know, you totally got my attention when you asked the question about who the joint owner was on my retirement account. Have you ever thought about that? You know, see, normally when I'm talking to someone or if Ed's talking to someone, he'll say, hey, let me ask you this. How much of your account do you own? The common answer is, of course, well, I own all of it. No, let me rephrase that. How much of your 401k is yours? Well, all of it, right? No, it's not, actually. You have a joint owner on that retirement account. If it is a 401k, a 403b, a TSP, a 457 plan, an IRA, or any other type of tax-deferred account, you have a joint owner on that account. And I can guarantee you, you're not going to like all the details that come with that joint ownership. Who is the joint owner? Well, the joint owner is Uncle Sam. And as Ed Slott will say, guess what? He's not even your real uncle, but he does own some of your retirement accounts. And here's the thing, he gets to dictate how much of your account he owns. That might be 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%, 37%. And let's go back and look into history. That's right, the all-time highest federal tax bracket, 94%. If you don't believe me, just go look up those stats and look up the year my father was born, 1944. Look for the highest federal tax bracket, okay? Here's the thing. You put your money into a tax-deferred account, and remember, you took a tax deduction up front, and you deferred that tax for the future. And who determines the rate of tax? Your joint owner, Uncle Sam. And don't forget, you also owe money to your state, unless you're in one of the very few rare states that don't have any state income tax. So most of us, when we started off in our careers, we were told about this wonderful thing called the 401k. You need to put your money into the 401k. You're going to get free money. Remember this great match they're going to give us. And back in the glory days, it might have been as high as 7 or 8%. And then it fell back to 5. And then it fell back to 3. And now with a lot of companies, there is no match. Truly, it's a yo-yo economy. You're on your own. If you don't save it, you won't have it. But even when you have that match, remember, you are post-dating that tax. You're saying, I'll deal with Uncle Sam on down the road. And Uncle Sam, your joint owner in these accounts, has all kinds of rules for you. No distributions before 59 and a half without a 10% penalty. It's also taxable. Remember, there's going to be rules that start for you when what used to be age 70 and a half, and then it changed to 72, and then it changed to 73. We already know that it's going to change to age 75 in about 9 years. Those are called required minimum distributions. Yes, they are required even if you don't need the money. And your joint owner, Uncle Sam, is going to tell you how much you have to take and when you have to take. And he's also got all kinds of special rules for your spouse and for your non-spouse beneficiaries, your children and your grandchildren. You know, I personally believe this is where the term roll over in your grave comes from. It's for those of you who work your entire life and build this nest egg that you think belongs to you, and then you find out after you're long gone that because of improper distributions, you were working with the wrong advisor. They didn't know, your wife didn't know, your kids didn't know how to take the money back out the right way. And you gave the majority of your retirement money to Uncle Sam in taxes, federal and state. Many times, Uncle Sam will get more than 50% of all of the money that you saved your entire life that you thought was going to go to your wife, your children, your charities, your church, but the right planning did not take place. That's what we specialize in here at Safe Money Radio. Both myself and my son Hunter are RICPs, Retirement Income Certified Professionals, through the American College of Financial Services, and you've seen the long list of key guests that we have on the show, talking to you not just about how to get the money into your accounts to make good earnings on the money, but more importantly, how to get the money back out of those accounts in the most tax-efficient way. If you would like to read a copy of a book that is really about financial planning and guaranteed lifetime income, and the key thing about how to take it out in the most tax-efficient way, just call us anytime. It's 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. I'll give you a copy of Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, absolutely free. And remember, America's IRA expert Ed Slott wrote the foreword for this book. Call us anytime at 866-780-7233. There's always someone standing by to take your call. Now, friends, if you're just now joining us on the show today, we have been talking about the joint owner on your retirement accounts. And I know if you just joined us, you might be thinking, well, wait a second, I don't have a joint owner. I have an IRA. And what does the I in IRA stand for? Individual. Now, if you really want to shake up your advisor and see whether or not he's worth the salt, ask him what IRA stands for. He will tell you individual retirement account, but that is not true. An IRA is not an individual retirement account. If you don't believe me, pause the show right now if you're watching and just go to irs.gov and type in IRA. You will find out that it stands for Individual Retirement Arrangement, not individual retirement account. And what is this arrangement? This individual retirement arrangement is what we're talking about on today's show. You see, you have an arrangement with Uncle Sam. He's the joint owner. When you reached out and shook his hand, he slapped cuffs on you, and you are now cuffed to Uncle Sam for the rest of your life, unless you find the special key to unlock those handcuffs. And I can show you exactly how to do that, how to get rid of Uncle Sam for the rest of your life and take him off as a joint owner and a primary beneficiary on your account. But let me do this today. I love to share stories. You know, I've been on the radio for 14 years. A lot of you watch and listen to my podcast. Let me share a story about how this fleshes out in real life, because none of us like having Uncle Sam as a joint owner. You probably have something that means a lot to you. I own 3 farms. I talk about it a lot. So I own a farm in Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa. Now, why do I own these farms? Well, I live at work. You see, Monday to Friday, I'm here. This week, I was here 3 nights past 7 o'clock. I have 1,300 clients. I've written and structured more than 2,000 annuities and life insurance policies. That's a lot of customer service. That's a lot of people to take care of. But let's not forget, I'm also on the radio 5 times a week. I have podcasts, I have YouTubes, all that are going on all across the country. I have clients all across the country. And here's the thing that separates me from everyone else. I write every single one of my shows, every word. That takes a lot of time. I am never away from my job. Even if I'm driving to a farm, I'm recording a radio show through an app somewhere. So here's the thing. I purchased my first farm in 2014. And here's what I learned about how unique our world is right now. I did not purchase any of my farms in my own name. For tax purposes and for protection purposes, I purchased them in the name of an LLC. And within 1 week of the date that I purchased my first farm, I had someone call me at the office and wanted to talk to me. And our staff is pretty good about making sure, someone that's calling, I've got the right time to talk to someone. And here's what happened. I get on the phone, I don't know the person, and they said, "Hey, Brad, I'm your new neighbor at XYZ Farm, and I just wanted to ask you some questions." And I'm first floored by this. First of all, I haven't told anyone about this farm that I just purchased. I didn't even purchase it in my own name. And then they proceed to ask me all kinds of questions. Well, why do you own this farm? Well, what are you going to do with it? And I mean, just all kinds of personal questions. And here's what I realized. This person had to have gone to the courthouse. They would have had to have looked up the information about who purchased the farm. They would have found that it was owned by an LLC. They would have had to have researched that LLC to find the name connected to it. Then they would have had to Google my name. Then they would have found that I own a business. Then they literally had the nerve to call my business during a workday to interject them into my life to ask me about my personal business. Let me tell you what, we live in a very unique world. Now, I wish we could go back to the days of front porches and talking to neighbors and everyone loves everybody, but we don't live in that world now. We live in a totally different world. So when someone calls you out of the clear blue and starts asking you questions about something that should be completely private, it kind of freaks you out a little bit. And that neighbor then went on to be very specific about the fact that the previous owner had let them hunt and fish on the property, had let them ride their horses on the property. And they wanted to know what I was going to let them do and not do because a new sheriff was in town and they wanted me to know that they were kind of the old sheriff, even though it wasn't their land. That really bothered me, and I've had to deal with several things like that, but that is exactly what's going on with your retirement accounts. You don't realize it, but you've got a neighbor that's right there that might even come let himself inside your gate, which has happened, and drive themselves right up to the doorstep of your house and say, "Hey, what are you doing with that money? What do you," and you're going to say, "Well, what do you mean? What am I doing with it? That's none of your business." And you know what Uncle Sam's going to say? He's going to say it absolutely is my business. You see, I've got all these rules for this account that you signed up for. You signed up for this account and said, "I am willing to participate in this 401k, this IRA, this 403b, this TSP, and I am going to take a tax deduction now so that I can deal with it in the future." But see, none of us think about the fact that we're going to have to deal with that in the future. We are a live for now kind of people. We just know we want this free match and this tax deduction, and so we keep making contributions to the accounts. But Uncle Sam is there. He is the joint owner. He's the nosy neighbor, and he's going to say, "Okay, I tell you what, I will let you take out distributions. I will let you take out your own money as long as you're over 59 and a half. Or you're a first-time home buyer, or there's a certain kind of illness and there's medical expenses, or, all this long list of things." And you probably don't like that, and you probably don't ever think about it until you end up in one of those situations. But if you have ended up in that situation, like many people who've called into our show over the years, they've said, "I used to have a 401k, but I had some things happen. I lost a job. I had to move. I needed a down payment for a home, and I took it out of my 401k. And I paid the tax on it, and I paid the penalty on it, and all the list of rules and regulations that go with that becomes their reality." Are you comfortable with having a joint owner on your 401k and your IRA on your tax-deferred retirement account that you have intended to be for you and for your family? If you're not, there's a way out. You have to know the right way out. There's a way to get out, and there's even a way to get out of that arrangement and never pay tax on it. It is 100% legal, and I can tell you less than 1% of all financial advisors know how to do it. You have to be working with the right retirement professional. If you want to find out how to get rid of Uncle Sam, if you want to find out how to protect your money and keep it safe, if you want to find out how to develop streams of guaranteed lifetime income, then you need to give us a call. Remember, I've been working with America's IRA expert, Ed Slott, since 2010. He wrote the foreword for my latest book, Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. Both myself and my son Hunter are retirement income certified professionals through the American College of Financial Services. We will sit down with you, find out what you've got going on, and we will come up with the best retirement income plan for you and your family. And we will be focused not on how to get the money into an account, but how to get the money back out of the account in the most tax efficient way. Call us anytime at 866-780-SAFE. That's 866-780-7233. Just ask for a free copy of the book. Ask for a copy of our Safe Money Kit. We will mail it to you absolutely free. And you can even set up a free financial consultation when you call. We do not charge fees to meet with you, and we will be more than happy to help you any way that we can. Our number again is 866-780-7233, and there's someone standing by right now to take your call. Now, friends, before the break, we were talking about Uncle Sam being a joint owner on your retirement account. And I know you probably don't like that thought. And if you don't believe it's true, just go to any tax-deferred account you have right now and take a distribution. You'll find out. You're going to get 1099 on that distribution. And guess where that money is going to go? To the feds and to the state. Try to take a distribution before age 59 and a half. You'll find out how many different rules and regulations and how much control Uncle Sam has over you and your retirement accounts. You know, there's all kinds of horror stories that come from tax-deferred accounts that get passed on to people when the beneficiaries do not know how to touch the money and the financial professional does not know how to touch the money. So I want to focus on that in this last part of our segment today, because here's what America's IRA expert will say. He will say, take a guess at how many financial professionals know all the rules and the laws that come with tax-deferred accounts. He will say 99%. It's not that high. He said it's higher than that. It's not even 1% that know. Less than 1% know. So here's the thing to think about. How do you find these people? Well, you can find these people by going to IRAhelp.com. That's Ed Slott's personal website page. And you can look for Find an Advisor. I've been listed on that page for the last 14 years, starting my 15th year in 2024. This is highly trained individuals, about 450 of us, who constantly study the laws regarding 401ks, IRAs, and any type of tax-deferred account. And we specialize not in just getting the money into the retirement accounts, but how to get the money back out in the most tax-efficient way. So I'd like to share a story with you from what happened just 2 days ago, okay? Because of YouTube, because of how much I've spoken all across the country, I'm licensed in about 10 different states, but I speak to people all across the country. And I had someone call from Tennessee. This person is retired. They have done very, very well for themselves. Thankfully, they had found me through watching an interview with Ed Slott on YouTube. And they said, hey, I'm a huge Ed Slott fan. I saw how many different videos you've done with him. I saw that he recently came to your office and did a podcast with you and spoke at an event you had. And I respect Ed. And because of Ed Slott, I have converted almost $1 million of my tax-deferred money over to a Roth IRA. And I was like, wow, that very rarely happens. Do you meet someone that actually takes the medicine they're told to take? They rip the Band-Aid off, they pay the tax up front, they get rid of Uncle Sam as a partner, and they truly get to experience freedom because they are the true owner of their retirement account. And he said, I'll tell you, I don't work with any financial professional. I don't want to pay their fees. I do all my own trading. But I really do want your advice regarding some things because I know you work with Ed. And so he shared that his main concern was that he still had some tax-deferred money and he didn't know how to do a conversion because of the type of accounts he had. And we started talking about it. And as he shared everything, I said, you know, I appreciate everything you said. I just need to ask you 2 or 3 questions to make sure everything is set up for you in the right way. And he said, absolutely, I would love for you to do that. I said, hey, you've done a great job of setting up tax-free accounts by converting to Roths. But here's my first question. You mentioned you had pension income and you have Social Security income and you even have one annuity. and that annuity is tax deferred, so that's taxable income. What about this pension? Tell me, when you pass away, does your wife get any of it? And he paused for a second and said, no, we took the higher payment amount. So when I die, she's not going to get any of that passed on to her. I said, okay. And you said that she is currently taking her Social Security. How much is that? He said, that's about $1,000 a month. And his pension was $2,000 a month. I said, okay, well, right off the bat, we see that we've got a problem. First off, it's great that you've got all this income. Pensions are rare. You've got great pension income. You've got Social Security, her Social Security, annuity income, but you're going to lose that pension when you die, and you're going to lose her Social Security when you die because you'll lose the lower and step into the higher, and his Social Security is higher. This is a real problem that many of you are going to face. So I said, here's the thing. You've done a great job, but you can't be in a live for today moment when it comes to retirement planning. You have to look down the road, and that's why we focus on how to get the money back out of the accounts. I said, if you take away your $2,000 pension and your $1,000 Social Security payment, would it change her lifestyle if she had $36,000 a year less income? And he said, well, yeah, then we would have a problem. And I said, now I've got one other question to ask you. Do you have traditional long-term care? And he said, no, we don't. I've never liked the thought of making premium payments into something that we might not ever use. And I said, I understand that. But here's the thing. This is a rule of thumb that you pretty much have to live by. For the most part in this country, men are older and they die first. I say that to everyone. Men are older and they die first, and the average spouse lives 14.2 years after the death of the first spouse. So what happens if a worst case scenario happens? Worst case scenario is 1 second after we get off this phone call, you drop dead. That's the worst scenario, right? That means your $2,000 a month pension stops now. Her Social Security stops now. You are $36,000 a year in the hole. We need to look at some things to do with some other assets that you thankfully have converted to tax-free money, and let's set those aside, and here's some beautiful things you can do with those assets that he had no idea about. He didn't know there were certain types of annuities that you could defer, protect the income, let it roll up for the need of future income when he loses a pension and Social Security, that have what's called impairment doublers on them. That if you start the income and someone ends up in qualified nursing care, or they can't perform 2 out of 6 ADLs, activities of daily living, it doubles the payment for you while you're in that facility or having that health care taking place. Blew his mind. He also said, well, hey, I know from talking to Ed Slott that and watching his videos and listening that permanent life insurance might be a good play for me too, because then I could have something that would pass on to her tax-free. I said, yes, and did you know those same type of riders on a life insurance policy, critical illness, chronic illness, that are there to allow you to take part of that benefit while you're alive if you end up in long-term care? So before we started talking on that phone call that day, he really just needed some tax advice. He didn't realize he had a future income problem. He didn't realize he had a future potential state spin down of his assets if he ended up in long-term care, or if his wife ended up in long-term care. And we were able to solve all kinds of problems just by asking the right questions. He then, after the phone call, took something that Hunter and I give to every one of our clients. It's called the RISA, the Retirement Income Style Awareness Questionnaire, that was created by Dr. Alex Margia and Dr. Wade Pfau. Okay, we would love to send you a free copy of the Retirement Income Style Awareness Questionnaire. We would love to give you a copy of my best-selling book, Bulletproof, The Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. All you have to do is give us a call. 866-780-SAFE. That's 86. We want to make sure you understand you have a joint owner on your retirement accounts. And that joint owner is greedy and nosy, and he has got all kinds of rules that he's going to make you and your spouse and your non-spouse beneficiaries deal with. Hey, those rules don't end when you die. He passes those rules on to the spouse, and he passes even more stringent rules on to your non-spouse beneficiaries, your children and your grandchildren. So friends, if you have tax-deferred accounts, 401ks, IRAs, TSPs, 403bs, 457 plans, you need a retirement income certified professional working with you to make sure you keep that money out of Uncle Sam's hands. Greedy little hands. And remember, he's not even your real uncle. Call us at 866-780-7233. Ask for a free financial consultation. We will get you headed in the direction of safety and guaranteed lifetime income. 866-780-SAFE, and there is always someone standing by to take your call.